A lot of the analysis that people are pointing to is from groups, for example, like the Congressional Budget Office.
This was in relation to a Democratic bill. You said the CBO has confirmed this bill adds nearly $400 billion. Do you only believe the CBO when a Democrat is president, Mr. Speaker?
So today's going to be a very Face the Nation based day in what we cover. This time it's Mike Johnson's appearance this Sunday. So if you can, leave us a like. We got a lot of debunking to do. It helps the video out. It lets us know you enjoy the content. And let's see what fact checks we can provide.
A number of Senate Republicans share Elon Musk's concerns that it will add to the debt and deficit. So how do you convince your Republican Senate colleagues to get on board and support this bill?
Well, I convinced my friends and colleagues by use of the facts. I sent a long text message to my good friend Elon Musk after he made those comments the other day to explain this is not a spending bill. This is a reconciliation package. It is reconciling a budget. So there is some additional spending, as you noted earlier at the opening, for national security, for historic investments in border security, the largest in generations, because those are necessary expenditures. But what my friends are missing is the tremendous and historic level of spending cuts that are also in the same package. So a lot of the analysis that people are pointing to is from groups, for example, like the Congressional Budget Office.
Yeah, guys, don't trust the CBO now, even though Republicans cited it for 4 years during Biden's presidency as a reliable source. Also, super disingenuous thing to try to do here that might fool some. I mean, yes, it is reconciliation. And while there is spending included in the bill that is reckless in its own right, like for a border wall that's not going to stop anyone, the issue is the historically massive cuts in revenue. The spending cuts are mute because they're half of what the revenue cuts are. And when you massively cut revenue without matching it with spending, it has the same effect as increasing spending without matching it with revenue. You're going to add to the debt and deficit in doing so, which is why this $5 trillion handout to the rich is also going to be a $3 trillion debt burden on the poor.
It is worth noting that some budget experts say that in 2017, actually the CBO was pretty right when you adjusted for inflation. But let me read you something that you said back in 2021 about the CBO. This was in relation to a Democratic bill. You said the CBO has confirmed this bill adds nearly $400 billion to the deficit, contrary to the White House's claim that the bill is paid for. So do you only believe the CBO when a Democrat is president, Mr. Speaker?
No, this is very easy to explain. The CBO sometimes gets projections correct, but they're always off every single time when they project economic growth.
It's funny because the CBO is actually super reliable, right? Like they're typically pretty close with either party because they're nonpartisan, and they actually overshot the economic growth for the 2017 tax cuts. For instance, in 2018, they predicted 3.3 economic growth on the GDP, and it actually only grew 2.9. After that, obviously, COVID comes into effect. So it's like, how much can you attribute to tax cuts and this and that? But overshooting, not underestimating, which is what Republicans want you to believe. Meanwhile, Trump and Republicans promised 6% economic growth from the 2017 tax cuts. They never hit that even half for a single year, right? Not even once. And where now they're promising 9%, which is just insane. So you tell me if you believe the chronic liar in Trump, who was massively off last time and is now predicting even more, or the CBO, who was within 0.5% and is historically always within around 0.5%. This is just the MAGA game, right? Sources they agree with, good. Sources that prove me wrong, fake news, we can't trust them.
Look, when we did this in 2017, the first 2 years of the Trump administration, we literally brought about the greatest economy in the history of the world, not just the U.S., because we got the government off the backs of the people who create the jobs, and we allowed hardworking Americans to have more money in their pocket that they could take home. We're doing that again. Remember, in this big, beautiful bill, the reason we call it that is because there's benefits for everybody. It's geared for hardworking Americans, lower and middle-income Americans. No tax on tips, no tax on on overtime, no tax on interest on car loans if you buy products made in the USA. We're going to give relief to seniors on Social Security. There's so many benefits and features in this bill, and it's going to allow everybody to do better. And at the same
I hate that MAGA Republicans have said this enough that it's just accepted as factual, or at least accepted enough that it got Trump elected again, where he literally, by not a single metric, had the greatest economy in the history of the world, nor can you draw a line to anything he did to positive effects in the economy for the working class. He consistently underperformed Obama in GDP. He underperformed Obama in jobs. He underperformed Obama in wages. So if he underperformed in all of those, how is his greater, which would it'd have to be if it was the greatest in the world? The only metric you could point to that was strong consistently under Trump is the stock market, right? After the tax cuts, business investment drops. That's what leads to higher wages and such. Jobs left America for tax havens overseas because Trump dropped the foreign tax rate. Then COVID happened and Trump completely shit the bed economically. GDP went negative, deflation set in, then historic spikes climbing up, the largest year increase in CPI right as he was leaving office, with unemployment peaks at 15%. Like, where is the metric for greatest economy in history? It literally doesn't exist. Also, any tax provisions for the middle class are temporary. No tax on tips and overtime expires in 2026. So enjoy that for 2 years. And as you can see, the bulk of this bill is coming from the pockets of the poor and being put into the pockets of the rich.